We're good? Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the Washington County Library Services Board to order. This agenda was posted in the office of the county clerk on the 14th day of April 2022. Notice was sent to the West Bend Daily News, Express News, WBKV, WMBZ Radio, WTKM Radio, My County Now, Hartford Times Press, Kewaskum Statesman, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. If we would all like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will now move on to number 3, minutes from the January 20th, 2022 meeting. Are there any corrections to be made? If none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our January 20th, 2022 meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the January 2022 meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from January 20th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes have been approved. We will now move on to 4, review of the second quarter 2022 circulation statistics. Brad, or any of you, do you want to talk about the statistics, or does somebody else want to?
What would you like to know?
I just, we've got some new members. Anything you guys would like to point out to us? This is a typical first quarter. Or
I'll chime in if
you'll chime in. Do you have
On
any
average,
questions?
it's better than last year first quarter on the whole.
Okay.
We're doing a little bit better, so that might be a sign perhaps of things returning to quote unquote normalcy or something near it. Hopefully that trend continues with second, third, et cetera, et cetera.
Being brand new to this, I guess all I could do is kind of compare to see if there were any big swings. And I noticed in Germantown, where I'm from, the number went up quite a bit. Or no, went down quite a bit. Do we have a clue why? The county residence number went down.
Oh, this
Went from 1198 to 481.
the number of circs against other library, right?
Okay.
I don't know that it means anything. I'm just curious. I'm an engineer, so I ask questions.
Yeah. And we're seeing some slight increases from last year.
But that one went down, which is odd, right?
The county residents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's I believe that's it's not all county residents, it's I think
The library ones.
the library ones.
So what that would mean is, in these terms, if me as a West Bend resident, if, say, back in 2021, I checked out at Germantown, I would have been ticked on that. This year, I'm not going to Germantown, I go to my own library, so that's how it gets.
So there's more availability locally could.
Yeah.
There
And
was
then-
also a lot of address corrections done last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where we fixed a lot of errors that were statistical classes where people actually live, so that could be
Oh,
also.
We did a big cleanup project with making sure that the registered library was with
okay.
where they live.
Yeah,
So
because the only other big swing was Slinger Library County residents went up quite a bit. So, and that could just indicate people coming back to the libraries in person, so. Okay.
And when they figure out, because sometimes, people can think they live somewhere and they don't.
yeah.
They'll tell the staff, hey, I live in this community, and that gets down, and then when they go.
We get a
through-
lot of people that think they live in the town of Germantown and they really live.
Only that big?
Yeah, I know.
They really live in the village, so yeah, we did a lot of cleanup, but I can send you some more Germantown detailed numbers too. That shows kind of more
I'm just
where we're at.
wondering about the trend. so.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions about the statistics?
No.
Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll move on to 5, which will be authorizing the second quarter payment distributions. Now, if we take a peek on the back of the statistics, we'll go through all these real quick. The first one is 2022 Overdrive e-content fee for Washington County. Since we have some new people, could someone explain that for me?
Sure. So we, as part of the Monarch Library system, we pay into a state digital resource system, which is called Overdrive. There is an app called Libby. If you've heard of that at all. That is where we get our some of our digital content, digital books, audiobooks, magazines. So we pay a subscription into that, and then our users get unlimited access to the digital collections, which I think we've all seen pretty significant increases over the years of patrons using those digital resources.
Okay. Let's go to the next bill. It's the 2022 Oclc Subscription. Explain that.
Sure.
Thank you.
That is also through our system, dealing with Polaris, which is our integrated library system, and deals with all the behind the scenes work of our checkout system, cataloging system, all the systems that need to work to allow patrons to find and check out material from our libraries.
So this specific one, OCLC, stands for Online Cooperative Library Catalog. It's based in Ohio, and it's where all of our MARC records come from. And the difference in the pricing is because in Monarch, libraries are given a grade based on your population. So if you're in a library of a population of more than 5,999, you're a grade 1 librarian, and your director has to have a master's degree. A grade 2 requires a bachelor's degree, and a grade 3, you have to take some classes. I don't know the grade 2 and grade 3 populations, but that's why Germantown, Hartford, and West Bend are at $15.97 because we're a grade 1 library, and Kewaskum and Slinger, I believe, are grade.
Okay, that makes sense.
Grade 2s. You should be a grade 1, and that has to be adjusted, but this bill is based on.
That'll get adjusted.
It'll get adjusted next time, but that's why the numbers are different because of the grades of the
Okay.
directors.
Jennifer, if we go back to the Overdrive e-content, which Tricia just explained, the difference in the prices there?
That is based on active card holders and the number of checkouts at your library. So this is 50% of the fee, so Washington County is paying around $25,000 to be in it. And we are all, I believe, I can speak for my own library, we supplement this with Hoopla, which is seeing a major
We
uptick.
all have
We all have Hoopla now, which is another in-demand content, because with this system, with Overdrive and the Libby app, the waiting lists are quite long because it's the entire state of Wisconsin. So Milwaukee Public Library is in this, so is Tomahawk Public Library. So you could be waiting a long time for something. So we've all had to make some changes and think about other sources. So that's the difference, is because of the usage.
So that we can better help our patrons
Yep,
and get
absolutely.
stuff
And Hoopla
fast.
gives instant access to those materials.
It's on demand.
Okay, let's just flip the page and go to the next one, which is the 2022 Ils Replacement Fund. And if I could have somebody explain that as well.
Sure. The ILS Replacement Fund is a amount of money that the system sets aside if we would have to replace our ILS system, that we would have some money set aside to pay for that.
It also pays for upgrades to our software, to our hardware, and this again is 50%. So the differences are again based on the grade 1, the grade 2, or the grade 3. Slingers will change because Slinger has had a change in their population.
Okay,
They are now over 6,000, so they will require their municipal population, so they will be at a grade 1. So Leslie's prices at Slinger will be increasing.
okay, so accordingly, your price, you'll be charged more next time. Okay, great. Do you
I
have,
think that's really recent with the census, right?
Yes.
ILS stands for,
Integrated Library System.
okay, all right, and let's look to the next one, the 2022 Polaris Maintenance Fee for the Washington County Libraries. I have somebody explain?
So this is again, so Polaris is the software that is our integrated library system, ILS. That is the software that we use. There's a staff client that we call that, and then there's the patron front end that you see when you go to a website, our online public access catalog, what used to be the card catalog, the computerized version. And so again, these numbers are based on that grade level.
Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll move on. Then you go back to the 2022 Overdrive e-magazines for Washington County Public Libraries.
So as part of Overdrive and Libby, our digital magazine subscription is through Overdrive with Libby. And this again is based on the actual usage of those particular card holders and downloads in that particular area. It's an add-on that we purchased. It's much more stable than what we had prior.
We had a separate magazine subscription and once Overdrive added it, we went with Overdrive, which is much cheaper. It adds more items and it's also really nice to have everything in one place. So patrons aren't having to download this for books and this for magazines, and makes it a little bit easier for patrons to find what they need.
So the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages are where everything's added up, correct? From the OCL for each library then?
They provided
Oh,
those.
they provided those, okay, right? Next page.
That would have come from West Bend.
Okay, all right. And that's adding up charges,
It's just the detail of
More
the
detail.
specific letters is all it is.
okay.
So,
And then we go to the last page, which is the quarterly invoice for outreach services librarian. And why don't you, could I get somebody to explain that?
Sure. So outreach services is provided by the West Bend Community Library. They have a staff member and then I believe 1 or 2 part-time
Yep.
staff that provide services through the West Bend Library. They provide services for the West Bend community. Right now, Germantown, Kewaskum, and Hartford contract through them. I don't know, I think they're continuing. Germantown and Hartford are pulling out at the end of this year. So we actually pay what Germantown pays West Bend Library to provide service. We're gonna be making changes internally and providing that in-house. But what West Bend also does, that position is they serve the non-libraried communities and focusing on senior living facilities primarily and seniors at home. So Nancy Larson is the main librarian there and she brings browsing books and then books on hold for her clients that she serves, and then she goes to the different senior living facilities and kind of brings a mini version of the library to these communities and community members. And I believe it's primarily Jackson, town of Hartford, and town of West Bend that she's primarily serving through the county.
We pay her $40 an hour?
That's total compensation.
Oh,
Total compensation.
Okay, any other questions on the quarterly, second quarter payment distributions? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve all these bills.
I did have one question.
Oh,
How
go
do they
ahead.
compare to last year? You know, I haven't seen anything before this, so.
The invoices, they're all, I would say all up slightly based on increased costs.
But fairly similar.
Yes.
Yes, very similar.
Because the
Yep.
budget is usually set in when the regular budgets are normally set. So we've already approved this budget, so we have to stick in within these.
So we'll get our costs from the Monarch library system somewhere
Over the summer.
over the summer. And by September and October, that will all be finalized. And then we provide you with those numbers that we get from the system.
Yeah, the only thing that's kind of iffy in the budget is Act 422?
Act 420.
Act 420, which is how many people in Washington County go elsewhere for library service and we're required to pay. That's about the only thing that's really kind of flexible, I guess.
You don't know, because you don't know how many people
Yeah.
will be traveling, but we'll have to see how the price of gas impacts
Yep.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about the only thing in our budget that, we really kind of,
We don't know.
yeah, everything else is pretty much.
And that is 2 years, so like what we're paying now is based on 2020, so
Oh,
it is based on the last full year of numbers that we have, so at least
it
we'll
always
know-
trails.
Yeah, we always know a
That's what
little
we're
bit
going to
ahead.
now, where it's trailing. Before it was every,
So the bills you're approving today are current for this budget cycle.
Okay,
Circulation is 2 years behind it. This is the first year that we're going back, and we're gonna be moving the county's process to how the majority, I would say 99% of the libraries in Wisconsin operate on getting their funding based on the previous full annual report that was filed, and we just filed our 2021 annual report. So then that's what we base all of our requests for funding for next year on.
okay.
Allows us to plan a little bit better, much better, I should say. Previously, we were doing it by quarter, so when you get to that, we would get to October and get that last quarter, and we never know if it's gonna be, it's based on usage, so we don't know if it's gonna be higher or lower, and it can be tens of thousands of dollars difference, so it makes it tricky for us to adjust that late in the year. So this allows us all to plan better and to know what we're getting, so we can use that money and make adjustments to serve our communities.
and
Thank you.
that's something we changed for this year. So that's a little
Okay.
different.
Good.
Any other questions? Anybody on the board? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve these second quarter payment distributions.
I'll make a motion to approve second quarter payments.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the second quarter payment distribution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We have approved the second quarter payment distributions. We will now move on to the Monarch Library System update.
Well, I think the only thing that we probably know is the current system director has been in her position about 6 months, Rita Grover,
Okay.
and she was just getting her evaluation from the system board. I have a library board member now on the system board, so
as well.
Tricia does as well. They were looking for some Washington County seats, representation, so we submitted names. We meet virtually now as a directors group, so our contact is pretty limited versus what it was prior to COVID. We met on a regular basis. We were face to face, so it's a little, I mean, we've tried to stay, I think as a 5-county operation, we've tried to stay pretty close, but
We meet a lot outside of
yeah.
like things.
But the system, I mean, they're working on technology stuff, I know that.
Yeah, technology, they're working on a marketing plan.
Okay.
Lots of stuff, summer reading is coming up, which is a really busy time for us, so I know they're working on some graphics and things for summer reading.
Okay. And do you want to talk about this then or next on library director's reports?
I can do it under library director.
Okay, then we'll move to 7 library director's reports. How about we do the overall Washington County
Sure.
libraries by the numbers?
So this is a document, last year I started putting this together, so it takes data from all 5 of our libraries from our annual reports that were submitted in March and adds everything together, so it gives a picture of what the Washington County libraries are doing. So you can see, we count both print and our digital. Digital is that Overdrive number, and we checked out 1.1 million items. This is obviously significantly higher than 2020. We all saw significant decreases. All of us opened up pretty much the day we could, but we were closed for 6 weeks. And then traffic, obviously 2020 was very slow getting back to it and limited programming. We are all back to regular programming right now. We're all making different variations of adjustments, but we all do have standard in-person programming going on. So we're seeing those numbers climb back up again. We had almost 300,000 library visits in 2021, which very exciting number. I believe Key Wasco does not
We don't track that.
track that. So we have like an automated system, which we just got, I think a year or two ago. So not everybody's able to track that. And then we track service questions. Those are any kind of questions, reference questions that are asked at our library. On the right, you can see a lot of our digital resources, public computer logins, wireless logins. Those are logins that happen in our building or right outside of our building. Online database retrievals, and then Gale courses are free online courses that are available to our patrons. Programming is again seeing lower numbers than in the past, but also shooting back up now that COVID is opening things up. We reached over 3,000 people at the Washington County Fair. We are looking at doing the fair again, but doing it a little bit differently. Last year we had a booth and we were in the vendor area for 6 days, and we staffed that pretty much 12 hours a day, which was difficult with only the 5 libraries and also not reaching quite the population we wanted to. So this year we're looking at having an event on Saturday that will be family focused. Not quite sure what we're going to do yet, but either some kind of performer or activity that families can come and participate in. And we've been meeting with Kelly from the fair and using that stage right when you walk, after you walk in the vendor area, there's that stage right in front. So we'll be using that to hopefully do an activity and then promote all of our services and hand out library information. We also have over 300,000 items delivered in and out of the building. That is a service that the Monarch system provides. We get daily delivery at all of our libraries. So it provides us with a much wider variety of items for our patrons. And then on the back, this is something I added from what was sent digitally. I just looked at the total number of physical circulation. This doesn't include the digital. That's a little bit harder to track. So this is just the physical items going in and out, going out of our libraries. So we have municipal population. That's the 5 of our municipalities, and then non-library population, and then other. That includes adjacent counties. Sometimes we do get like different card holders in different areas of Wisconsin. So that's kind of a compile of all of those. And then the bottom graph just looks at that 329,000 number of non-libraried users. So all the 15 non-libraried municipalities in Washington County. As I was doing the numbers, we're seeing pretty steady trends. There wasn't anything that really stood out, just basic increases from coming out of 2020.
And I just wanted to, as a comment, it's something that I know we've looked at before, having been around a while. Waukesha County does have a bigger population, but they have how many libraries? They have like
16.
16. Now granted they have a bigger population than we do, but you know, we only have 5 libraries in our community. It's kind of
Dodge also has
16,
which is a much smaller population. So we do serve a lot of
so it's a
pretty big
Busy
population.
busy library.
Yeah. And Jackson, Richfield, and Erin are our biggest municipalities that have the most people.
Does anybody have any questions on the Washington County Libraries 2021 by the numbers? Good job.
Well,
Well,
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay. Then who wants to start and tell us what's going on in their library?
I'll start, I guess. So we just finished National Library Week. We do our swag giveaway at the circulation desk, so that's always very popular. We had our first fundraiser at Chick-fil-A. We're going to be making that, doing a fundraiser a couple times a year. We are full on board prepping for our summer reading program. That'll be for kids, teens, and adults this summer. We're very, very happy to be back in person. Last 2 years we did our program online, and it's a good alternative to not having a reading program, but it just doesn't get the kind of population in that we want to see. So we're pretty much back to normal normal summer. We do have a couple of exciting things going on. We're finalizing our strategic plan in the next couple of months. We're working with Ils, which is a Wisconsin-based organization that does consulting and strategic plans. So we are finalizing our plan now and should have a new 5-year plan released this summer. We are also launching our book trailer in May. So we have a 4x6 foot trailer that we're fitting to make into a mobile library. So it's kind of like the bookmobile concept, except on a much larger, smaller scale. So we will be having a series of events leading up to the book trailer launch. And then we'll be having, we have a week where the book trailer is going to be around town at the police station, fire station, different parks in not only Germantown, but Richfield and Jackson as well, being in our service population. And then that'll be available throughout the summer to be at different community events, different series of events. We hired a outreach specialist back in September, so we're working on a lot of things with transitioning that position into the different services that we provide.
Okay, thank you. Brad, tell us what's going on in West
You know,
Bend.
the biggest thing that I can speak to, Steve not giving me anything specific to speak on, but one thing I will say is that similar to Trish, what she spoke about strategic planning, that is a big chunk which several of us are involved in. You know, we're looking at, you know, short-term, mid-term, long-term, and that sort of thing, and just redefining how, you know, our library, in the case of West Bend, of how our library wants to present itself to the universe, as it were, and things like that, and just really getting into the nitty-gritty of it, the minutia, shall we say. And it is quite a process. We've just, you know, we've begun it, we've been working on it a little bit, we're just getting things organized. We made some big changes last year when Steve came on board. He made some staffing changes and things like that. So we're kind of reviewing that as well and just looking to see, oh, we're 1 year in, what does it look like kind of scenario. But at the same time, we are getting the staff members involved in the bigger, you know, the bigger project of strategic planning and things like that. And we've got some goals that we've got set, and I just try to keep the eye on the ball kind of thing that, you know, because all of a sudden, oh, you can go this way, you can go that way, you can go that way, you know. I always try to keep everything straight and steady. But that is our biggest thing at present that I can speak to in regard to us. So stay tuned.
All right, well, thank you. Lori,
Okay.
and I put you on the spot, thank you.
No. Kewaskum, for people that don't know, we are the smallest library in the system. I call us small and mighty. We have 1 full-time staff member and 4 part-time staff members, and we've had staffing challenges the last few months with the youth services librarian out for, it's been like 9 weeks now with an injury. So that's put a dent in the programming that we could do because it would just be me and then 2 part-time shelvers and a brand new person, part-time, that was hired as a cataloger. So something that we did do, I did have to postpone some programs that she did, but we did continue with story time. We had guest storytellers come in and read. We had community members, library board trustees, and our village administrator was on the read. So that was, and people like that, and we'll probably continue that maybe once a quarter or so. So that was a good transition. She is back part-time now, so we're continuing with programming. We did receive the East Asia and Wisconsin Library Program grant, and we're finishing that up with 2 programs this week and next week. We have our kite flying program where kids have kits to make kites, and that's on Saturday, and it looks like it's going to be an awesome day for that. Yay. You know, it's a good thing that we did cancel it in March because it snowed on that day. And then the North American Chinese School will be coming to teach Chinese calligraphy next week. So that's, then we're rounding that out. We are, one of the good things with our youth services librarian having to work from home, she got all our performers booked for summer since she wasn't in the library. So we're all set with our summer program. We're going with the collaborative summer learning programs theme of Oceans of Possibilities, and have plans to turn the library into an underwater place. So we will see how that turns out. Let's see. We do have, we will be doing some community programs. It's Kewaskum's 125th anniversary 2 years later. So we can celebrate.
What happens?
Happened at Disney World, so.
So they're finally gonna have that, and we'll be a presence there, and that's right at the beginning of summer, so we can talk about our summer learning program. And we do have a site for building, the municipal building, and that's us, the administrative offices, and the police department. We will be building in the annex area, which is just west of the library building, and it's adjacent to the 9/11 memorial. So we have RFPs that came back, and we're looking at new architects, and look forward to working with them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, Leslie, thank you. Congratulations on becoming a grade one library.
Just means, more budget.
I know, bigger bills, but
Yes.
go ahead.
We're kind of just chugging with everyone else. I mean, really, we're planning summer reading and getting out, trying to get all those flyers done and trying to get all the advertising and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, I was in the process. We've officially offered a youth services librarian a position, and we're waiting to see if everything comes back for her. So hopefully she'll probably start at the end of May when she's a teacher, so she'll enter teaching. She's from Indianapolis. So we also have to bring her in too as well.
That's awesome.
And then we too are in the process of, it's between me and the police departments. So we'll see who dukes it out, but of which one's gonna move off campus. So we did get the RFPs back, and then we did pick one of those, and we're there now. It's their job to tell us who's gonna move off the island, where they're gonna move us,
Okay,
and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what we're working on too. So.
okay, all right, well, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
I'm voting for you off the island.
You want to move off the island,
Yeah,
right?
I want to move off the island. They want off the island. Okay,
Usually off the island is.
it's not good, but in this
It gets
case.
you in the building.
Yeah, new building, bigger space.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, thank you. Jennifer?
So in Hartford, we've just been, busy staffing and trying to keep things going, not trying, but going. We had a great National Library Week. We did some behind the scenes tours. We opened up some of our spaces for people to drop in. So they went into the basement, the small basement, and they went in to see how our operations work with returning materials. So people were really interested in that, so. We debuted a signature ice cream flavor. We worked with our local ice cream shop on Main Street called Scoop DeVille. Marion the Raspberry was her debut. It was super fun.
What was that,
and it was
Marion the
Marion the Raspberrian.
Marion the Raspberry.
So Marion the librarian is from It's a Wonderful Life and another famous movie I can't think of, but. So I went to Scoop DeVille and I said to Ray and Carrie, who I know very well, the owners, and I just said, I will purchase this from you. I will purchase this amount from you. Will you create me a flavor? You know your ingredients and name it. And they were on board. So it's mutually beneficial for everybody.
Sure.
So that was super exciting that week. And we did like Germantown does. We played Plinko at the desk for library swag and that sort of thing. So we're gearing up for summer library program as well. We're doing something new this summer. We are doing an outdoor concert series on the north side of the library. We have a grassy area. We're bringing in four different, between June and September, we'll have 4 different Wisconsin-based music groups coming and doing an outdoor concert. So we learned during COVID that one of the things that worked really well for us was doing some outdoor programming. And so we had 75 people come 2 weeks in a row for 2 different programs, and they brought their own chairs. So why wouldn't I want to be more outside, right?
Yep.
So we did that. We have a hula hooper coming in June. We'll do her out. We'll have her program outside. Our crafts for grown-ups programs that were developed during COVID, all of our on-the-go programming remains incredibly popular, and it's wild. Yesterday we had one go out and I had 20 people waiting at the door.
Wow.
To get their kits. So it's been great, and we've pivoted and we've made some good changes, and we have a large retirement coming next Friday. Our bookkeeper and secretary, that's her job title, Diane, is retiring after 30 years.
Wow.
So for me, I've known Diane almost over 20 years that I've been in the county as a librarian, and so it's going to be very strange not to see her or have her in the library. So lots of good things, I think, going on for all of us, and we're happy, always to answer any questions or anything that you have or are curious about. we definitely all talk to each other, so.
Any other questions here from anybody on the board? You got for the directors? We'll put them on the spot.
Great work.
Yeah.
Feel
Thank
free to
you.
reach out to any message.
I do have a question, so this is like as a user.
Yeah.
I went on the West Bend's website because I wanted to put some books for traveling on my Kindle, and things have changed. So if I were to come into the library, could someone tutor me in how to I don't know, I mean, I'm trying to find the instructions and how to do it, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're,
Yeah,
okay,
that would,
I'll just
that's
bring it all
not a
in.
problem, if you want to, how should I say it, it may take a little bit of time, I don't know how much
Yeah.
time you need.
Oh, gosh.
I would actually recommend maybe calling ahead and ask to what we call book librarian.
Okay,
Then we can set up a time with you and it'll give you unfettered access to that librarian to take you through whatever questions you have.
yeah, do you guys have like a hyperlink to YouTube that someone actually can explain it, to walk somebody through it?
Well,
Or get that'd be
interesting point.
That'd be a great idea, because
I haven't seen it, but we've got some new staffers that would probably fit the bill to be able to do something like that pretty easily. It's a good idea.
Yeah, because I think last time I did it, it was a really nice little printout and it gave you
Yeah.
each step to do it. But
Yep.
now what you said, you have a new what is it? You guys, because I would agree that if you wanted to get a book, it's good luck. It's like 3 years before you actually get a book. Now that they've opened that up to a different program, that's awesome.
Well, then try Hoopla.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to get that all set up.
Yeah.
How to link it to my iPad, all that would be awesome.
Okay.
Like a user-friendly type of thing.
Yep.
I just looked at them as a
Do you have it here with you? I
No.
wonder if
Should have brought it.
If you do come in, we always recommend to bring your device in, because then we can show you. Every device can be a little bit different and they're
Right.
always coming up with new ones. So that's the fun and changing part of our job, right? That being an expert in every device is.
The older devices can be a little crankier
Yeah.
with the newer
Yeah.
software sometimes.
You
Sure,
said
sure.
you have an iPad?
Well, I have an iPad, but I thought, I can do that. But then I just love my Kindle for travel.
Okay.
I leave tonight and it'd just be nice to have a bunch of books on there. I'll read, while I was on my 4-hour flight. So
Okay.
but I couldn't figure it out. I'm I don't know how to do this. So I guess I'll bring a hardback.
Okay, anything else? If not, then we'll look at number 8 is the next meeting date, Thursday, April 18th at 1:30. Everybody good with that? And probably at that time, we'll be doing a budget, and I just heard they're gonna wanna elect a new chairperson, so you can get control of the gavel if you so want, and new vice chair at that time too. So that'll all be done at August meeting. If there are any other questions? If not, then we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and enjoy the nice, weather.
One day of it at least.
One day at a time.
Where are you going,
Good
Jessica?
for now, right?